What's up, gang? We are back for another episode of Skyblock Adventures. Today, before we start anything, I'm gonna show you my vote. Obviously, we have some good choices. We have fucking Diana again. And then we have all these other guys, which I don't actually... I know what Marina does. It's in her name, but I don't know what the others do. So let's take a look, shall we? Diana, we got the... Oh. Actually, it seems like she's only doing tracking. We got Cole. Okay, Cole actually looks pretty good. Foxy, I love the party stuff. I don't care about Marina. And then we got Finnegan. I'm gonna vote Foxy. So I'm telling you guys about my filming day. Overall, filming day wasn't bad. It was actually a very good filming day. You know, I got to act with my father. You know, quite a nice time. Everyone on set really loved my dad. Thought he did a great job acting. And yeah, it was very nice, you know. Damn it. Yeah, everyone thought he did a great job acting, which is great, you know. It's always nice to act with someone that's also pretty good. So, you know, we do the main stuff. The director did a fantastic job. All the crew I knew I worked with before, or at least most of them. Pretty much all of them I worked with before. Everyone was very professional. Everyone was very good on set, and it was nice. It was a very awesome time shooting. Now let's go start the complaints, because that's all any of you want to really hear. It was cold. This was no fault to anyone at all on set. It was just freezing, and I stupidly chose for my wardrobe to wear a sleeveless shirt. So, you know, me, I'm always out here in this weather. It's freezing, guys. Oh boy. Like, I was shivering me timber ears, and it was not the fun time. Like, every between takes I was covering up, and it felt good to cover up. I'm not gonna lie, it felt great. And then like there were times where it'd be like, I'll be ready, I'm getting cozy. Then the moment I'm cozied up, it's like, all right, we need you, Anna. I'm like, oh shit. And you know, it was a tough one, but hey, we got through it. We worked. I think we got some nice looking shots. Those I'm really excited for. But now let's get into like the big pet peeve of the day, which was the ending of the shoot. The last scene that we were shooting was me standing in front of my dead man's grave, and you know, I was crying essentially because, you know, it's funny. Well, when I say dead man, I mean my grandfather. You know, my grandfather. I miss my grandfather. That's nice and all that, right? So, you know, with that in mind, I was standing there and I was like, oh, you know, I should get in character. And the director wants this man, or at least in the script, he wrote it so I would be crying when the scene starts, right? Or at least like I'm already like very emotional. And I don't know about you guys. I know I'm an actor and I'm supposed to be able to cry on command and all that shit, but I can't cry on command. I actually actively very much struggle with crying on command. So, you know, with that in mind, I took it upon myself to be like, you know what, I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm gonna prepare. I'm gonna get in character, and I'm gonna do my thing to get into character. You know, and that is exactly what I did. You know, I stood there because the crew was taking a while to set the shot up. They were getting the lights, the camera, and all that. I can't believe I had to go back down. This sucks. They were getting it ready, and in order to get myself to cry, I decided the only good way to do it would be if I sang "Answer" from Wolf by Tyler, the Creator, and because I thought that song really fit well with what the whole thing was about. And you know, a lot of people may call me crazy, but hey, it worked for me. All right, I was like constantly repeating the words. I hope you answer when you call. I hope you pick up the phone. I'd like to talk to you. Then there was also another part I kept repeating was, I called your number, but you won't answer. That one got me a lot. And then also pretty much like the entire first verse of the song, which is when he goes like, "Hey Dad, it's me." And the is very important there. You know, I was basically there doing that. What is going on here? I've never seen that before. But, you know, I was doing this, my thing, And you know, by like 10 minutes, I feel like I was in a good zone. However, the crew took so long setting up this shot, guys. It was actually insane. And like, no fault to them. They're just making sure they got the right shot. You know, they're doing their jobs. You know, you can't fault anyone there. But still, I was here crying my ass off for what felt like forever. And it was horrible. It was quite all horrible, you know, because like I was in my feels, you know, really getting it down, and then you know, we finally get the shot right after what felt like 20 minutes, but it was very possible it was more like 5 or more like 10, but it felt like 20 minutes. It felt like a long time. And you know, we get the shot. You know, we did get the shot. We did the scene. You know, I cried and it was good. It was a good scene. He really liked it. The director really liked it. And they're like, all right, let's go for another take. But this time he wanted to do 2 cameras from the front, which basically would have been like the normal, because it was from our backside, the first shot. So then he wanted to do another shot with a 2 camera setup, so that way he could get us conversating, following the 180 rule, which for those of you who don't know, it's basically when the camera's on the same side of a line. That's the simplest way I can explain it. It made sense, and yeah. So I did what I've been doing, and I stayed in that zone, kept repeating those words, and you know what came out of it? You know what came out of it? Nothing. When I tell you, I felt like I was there for an hour and a half. Just standing there, just actually trying to cry. Or not even trying to cry. I actively crying. Like it was insane. And again, it's no fault of anyone there. I know they're just doing their jobs. I can't. It's not their fault. They're making the best of the film. Without them, there would be no film. So you know what? Thank you for taking all that time. Because you know what? I'm sure if you didn't take that time, the film probably would not be as good as it's gonna come out to be. But I gotta say, guys, to be crying for that long, it was a toughie. And then one of my good friends like came over and he went, oh my god, guys, Anna's crying right now. And the director, the good director, he had my back. He was like, yeah, dude, he's in character. And then that made him speed up a little bit. It felt. Or made that guy speed up a little bit. But still, like, it was actually so... It took so long to just stay in that area. And it was painful. One of the last takes we did, I think it was one of my worst performances. And the director wanted to redo it. And I told him, listen, I have no problem redoing it. But if we do, you're gonna have to give me some time to get back into the mood, because I cried all my tears out. Like, I feel out of it, and I need some time to get back in. Then they asked me, oh, well, how much time do you need to do that? And I was like, I don't know, 10 minutes. And they were like, I don't think we have 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, now I feel bad. And it was a tough one. I'm not gonna lie, it was quite a tough one to admit that I as an actor was not ready to, in that moment, to go right into it. But guys, you gotta understand, it was crying for that long. It was rough. I don't know. I know people normally can normally cry for that long. But like, making myself cry and staying in that zone, like, I tried so hard too. I don't know what it was. There was just a point where I just felt numb of feeling, and it was awful. I hated it. Like, I was just numb of all crying emotion, and it was hard. I'll be the first to admit it was a tough one. But I will say, director was very chill about it. He was like, no, you're all good, man. And he continued with it. He was happy with the shots. And then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna hug my girlfriend, because my girlfriend was on set, because she was doing background. And, you know, I was like, because the whole time I was, like, you guys gotta understand, when I was preparing the scene, I was talking to no one. Like, unless someone spoke to me directly, and even then, I was giving, like, very short, like, yes, no, or just shaking or nodding my head, so I can, like, try and just stay in that mindset. And it was quite difficult, because I also just I like talking to people. But like I spoke no words to my girlfriend during this whole point until that last part, and you know, I got to hug her, and then when I hugged her, and then I started feeling all those tears coming out again. I had not realized how emotionally taxing that was. Everyone on set was very professional, very nice. I very much enjoyed it. I would work with all of those people again. Alright, I know they were just doing their jobs, and I know everything they did was necessary. So I was very happy with how the set went, and I am excited to see this film come out. And when it does, you bet your sweet butts I will tell you about it, as I will always do for any of my films. But if you want to keep up with any of the stuff I do, the Instagram's down below, as well as my IMDb, so you can continue to check out what films I don't talk about that's on there. But anyway, guys, I think that might be the end of this one. So thanks for watching. You always know I appreciate it. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe!